The housing crisis is dominating headlines in Canada, while reckless politicians are bringing in record amounts of immigrants into the country. But what's not being talked about is the massive, massive record-breaking numbers of Canadians leaving. Canadians flee the country in the fourth highest volume in 73 years. This from betterdwelling.com. This is astonishing that you're not seeing a lot about this elsewhere, but this publication definitely talks about some of the statistics that are happening in Canada that are more pertinent to people who maybe you've heard of the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. 20% of the work is performed usually by, or 80% of the work is performed usually by 20% of the people. Well, we see that 20% of the people are packing their bags and they're taking off, They're taking off, you hosers. December 29th, 2023, recent article here. Canada may have record population growth, but what happens if immigrants see the mass exodus of citizens? Statistics Canada data shows Q3 2023 emigration being the reverse of immigration. This is people leaving, surged to an unusually high level. Canadians fled the country for a new home in such large number. A 3-month outflow has only been larger 3 times in the past century. Canada sees fourth largest outflow of residents in the past 73 years. This is unbelievable, and this is a massive, massive trend. It's moving up, and it hasn't just started recently. It's accelerating, though. It's really moving forward, and you can't blame this on COVID-19. This is the article actually gets into this. The above chart also really highlights this is a recent trend, starting with the record high exodus in Q3 2016. Higher emigration is normalized. Quarterly outflows are roughly 50% higher from that point forward. It is recent trend, but important to note this isn't exclusive to the post-pandemic. Now, Canadians are fleeing at an unusually rapid rate. Canada is set to have a banger of a year when it comes to resident outflows, where there were 74,017 immigrants year to date. And this is up to quarter 3. We haven't got the data for quarter 4, already hitting 79% of the total of last year. The final quarter of 2023 can come in lower than the previous 2 years and still print one of the biggest years ever for outflows. And what is driving this? Well, it's getting really ridiculously expensive to live here in Canada, and it's really difficult. And, and the government is exacerbating the situation. Now, this is some of the measures that they're doing at the federal level. They've declared basically wartime measures here in Canada. This is what they do. This is what the Trudeaus love to do, whether it's Pierre Elliott, or it's Justin Trudeau. Declare a state of emergency on the things that you've caused. Here they are announcing the Wartime Housing Act.
At the end of the Second World War, Canada was dealing with enormous housing challenges. We needed to build many thousands of homes quickly to accommodate all the soldiers who were returning home to be with their families when the war had ended.
Right. Thousands of soldiers were coming home to Canada, and they needed to build houses for them. Now we have a different story here. We have record immigration brought on by the federal government. July through October, more than 43,000 people entered to stay and live permanently in Canada, the most rapid increase since 1957. This is astonishing. You're going to think that I got this from some right-wing website or something like that. No, you'll see down in the corner. This is CTV. This is a statistic from CTV. Absolutely insane. Yes, showing here, Canada population growth, 43,635 people. This is just from July through September. Yes, that's right, CTV statistics. Now, this is the Minister of Immigration talking about what our plans are for the future.
Our worker to retiree ratio has dropped from 7 to 1 since I was born 50 years ago.
Now, remember that statement, the worker to retiree ratio, because we're going to get into that. But let's listen to what he has to say.
Nearly 3 to 1 now. If we don't welcome more newcomers, that number will approach 2 to 1 in the decades ahead, and that'll put our infrastructure and key programs like our healthcare and our education at risk.
So what infrastructure are we talking about? We're talking about the retirement savings. We're talking about the pension plans. We're talking about all the things that they've spent the money for. They didn't collect the money and put it into savings. Maybe there's a little bit, but no. This is all, well, some people would call it, what, Ponzi scheme? Maybe a pyramid scheme. Yeah, that's right. It's maybe a pyramid. Yeah, the definition of a pyramid scheme is when you pay off old investors with the new investors. You have to keep bringing that money in. Now, what would happen if immigrants coming to Canada were told that they were actually the bottom of the socialist pyramid scheme? Would they come? That is the question for the comment section down in the comment section today. Leave a comment on what you think about that. But this is the type of numbers that they're talking about. They need to bring into the country to sustain the spending that they plan on doing in the future. I mean, they could cut all of their spending on wars and ridiculous things that they've been throwing money around at, and we get into that stuff all the time on the channel. Ridiculous things that they spend money. No, they won't cut that in order to pay for these things. They have to bring in new immigrants. And how many are we talking about here, Mark Miller?
I'm pleased to share that Canada intends to maintain its target of welcoming 485,000 new permanent residents in 2024.
That many in 1 year. And listen to what else.
And 500,000 in 2025.
And 500,000 in 2025.
Starting in 2026, the number of newcomers we aim to welcome will stabilize at 500,000.
It will stabilize at 500, not 500,000 total, 500,000 per year indefinitely. This is ridiculous. The sheer numbers. And I got to preface this. I'm not anti-immigration. I'm very, very pro-immigration. I think people should come to Canada. I think that's great. But when we get numbers like this, what is really going to happen in the country? Now, you have the Liberal Party going out there and putting out their ads, and this is their latest one. You from Pierre Poilievre. Pierre Poilievre's gift to Canadians. What's in it? Oh, it's more than 100 cuts to the middle class and services they rely on. Why is it that we need to be relying on the government for services? If we don't have the services, we can't live as middle class. That is not how this country is supposed to work. No. The government is supposed to be largely out of our lives and allow us to make do on our own. That's what a middle class is. That's a middle class is a class of people that can make it on their own and be middle class by their own work and their own efforts. This is the way it works. No, but the liberal idea here is that they're the ones to dole out the money. This is redistribution. We got to create a middle class. Now I put in there because I mean, I'm not sick enough for Pierre Poilievre. I don't think his policy states that he's going to cut things to the middle class. I think he's going to cut other things. But at the end of the day, what the Liberal Party does not want you to know, when we go broke from their economic policies, they will cut middle-class programs first, not corporate welfare and not foreign aid. And foreign aid is just poor people in rich countries giving rich people in poor countries money. That's all that is. And I'm going to leave that there. And I'd love for you guys to leave a comment in the comment section down below. How much is enough in Canada? Or should we have a moratorium on immigration for a while? Let things cool off, perhaps. Be pretty strict on who can enter and stay. This is the ultimate question here for this video. Please leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think about all of this and everything that I said in this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.